Everybody,
Good morning, Rabbi.
this week's parsha is Matot Massie, and there is an insight from one of the great rabbis. His name was the Shaloh, and he writes in connection to this week's parsha of Matot Massie and Devarim that these three parshas always come out in the 3 weeks between Shavas B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. Why? And he explains that if you look at these parshas, you'll see the theme of what the parshas are talking about have a very strong connection with this time of like, in a sense, the destruction of the temple. So the Rambam also explains, and it's brought down in other places based on other things as well, that this starts off historically with one of the prophets, that after the destruction of the temple, Hashem told one of the prophets to tell the Jewish people that they should learn the laws of the building of the temple. So he tells Hashem, he says, wait a second, the temple was just destroyed. What exactly are we learning? We're not building a temple right now. So Hashem told back the Navi, the prophet, that when a person is learning the Torah, it's as if they're offering a sacrifice. When a person is learning about the temple, to me it's considered as if they're actively building the temple. So in a spiritual way, to be able to build the temple is by learning the temple. So there is this idea that these parshas are not only have the idea in a negative way, the way it applies to this time, but there's also positive elements to it as well, that in these three parshas, there are things that connect very strongly with the building of the temple, this is a very auspicious time to be involved in learning these things. Now, when it comes to the Beis HaMikdash, there was a room that was a special room that's where the Kohen Gadol would use. That was his locker room. And it was called Lishkas Kohen Gadol, the room of the Kohen Gadol. Well, there was also another nickname for it called Lishkas Ha'etz, the wooden room. So, in the laws and obligations of building the temple, there was not allowed to be any wood sticking out, protruding out. So any type of wood that they had, in most cases, was covered either with plaster, gold, or other materials. So the question is asked, what was the reason that there was wood in this room of the Kohen Gadol? So there are all different commentaries. Some say there wasn't wood, there was wood, they're not sure if there was wood. There are all different opinions of how they justify what was going on. And some come to the extreme explanation that the reason why there was wood, there was a specific reason why there was wood in the actual room of the Kohen Gadol, because the Kohen Gadol he's the guy. He's the man of the hour. He is the one that is going to go into the Holy of Holies, and he's going to be doing everything. So just in case it shouldn't go, to make sure it doesn't go to his head, and he should stay humble, they gave him a room of wood, that even though the Beis HaMikdash technically does not have wood, he should have wood, that he should be humbled. And they gave him all different jobs that they gave him extra on Yom Kippur to keep him busy. They shouldn't become haughty. So the Rebbe discusses this as well, and he says it seems very extreme to go all through these extra measures to make sure there's wood in the locker room, just in case the Kohen is maybe a little haughty, that we're going to make sure that he's not that way, that he should have something to keep him humble. I mean, there's so many things that are going on with the Kohen Gadol, and it was like a 7-day week program that he had to prepare beforehand, that it seems very extreme to go through all those measures to have to go do that extra step. And he explains from his father, from the Rebbe's father, that there's a very strong connection between wood and a Kohen. Wood represents long life, has a very long longevity, and the Kohen represents long life because the Kohen is Isha Chesed. Kohen comes from the line of kindness, and kindness is life. Judgment cuts off life, but kindness represents life. And the Kohen is there to bring kapara, to bring forgiveness, for atonement for the Jewish people. So the reason why they called it Lishkas Ha'etz, the locker room of wood, was because not necessarily there was even wood in there, but it represented the theme of wood that connects with the Kohen, that they both represent long life. So this was only called the locker room of wood when the Kohen went on a very high level, when they were at a high level. But later, there was a time when the Kohen would pay to be the Kohen, and they didn't last more than a year, because when they went into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, they didn't necessarily come out, but they wanted to do it anyway. So at that point, they changed the name to a different name. It wasn't called anymore the Kohen, the wood room, because it didn't necessarily represent long life. But this is a very beautiful thing to be able to see that a Kohen, Isha Chesed, kindness in general, represents life, represents long life, and this is something that we should all connect with, the idea of Chesed, the idea of being able to give life to others, to share with others, and we should all be zeicha to long life till the coming of Mashiach, B'karim Mamish. Amen.